shot from the outside.
For comparison's sake, the stats between these two teams, Paul, are so close, it's scary.
It's close, but look at Navy's goals against average. The best in the country at 6.2, and Army's man down defense is a stingy bunch, holding the opposition's man up to 74%.
It will be fun today to watch the best of the best in the Patriot League meet in this stare down. Which side's gonna fire up and face up to carry the flag? Army, Navy, plenty of high hits, plenty of high heat, and we jump back with the lineups in a moment.
Now that tastes fresh. The whole natural mountain stream thing, it's fine. But I was just in there. You do not want any of that. There's salmon in there. And you know what they're doing? Spawning in the mountain stream. It's way too natural for me. Crisp, refreshing, salmon-free.
Dasani, now available in lemon or raspberry flavor.
Here is for the love of the game. When it's for money, it's not the same. That is why you'll never see owners or agents on CSTV. Football, soccer, and volleyball. We cover 30 sports overall. That is why you should try marching onward to CSTV.
Hello, I'm Barry Sanders from Oklahoma State, and you're watching College Sports TV.
The ancient Chinese believed there are two opposing forces active in the universe, yin and yang. Balancing these conflicting energies was considered essential to optimizing performance. That ancient wisdom is still true today, and now you can balance your bioenergy and perform at your best with the Q-Ray ionized bracelet. Join the over 1 million people worldwide and experience the Q-Ray difference for yourself. Try the Q-Ray ionized bracelet risk-free for 30 days for just $19.95. If you're not completely satisfied, just send it back and we'll refund your $19.95. It's that simple. There is no risk. Call now to try the Q-Ray for 30 days. This special offer won't last long, so call now and start living your life to the fullest.
Let Q-Ray help you tap into your inner strength and maximize your performance. Call 1-800-493-1906. That's 1-800-493-1906. Call now.
This month on DirecTV. Attention! DirecTV Freeview presents 25 Years of Stripes. Drop behind the scenes of this comedy classic, featuring all new interviews with Bill Murray.
It was really quite a bit of fun.
Director Ivan Reitman.
Comedy is so subtle.
Harold Ramis.
I love just sitting there being like a monkey.
And long-lost deleted scenes.
Oh, where did you hear that?
Enlist every weekend this month, only on Channel 124.
It's free. You're kidding.
And don't miss the special offer on Stripes, the extended cut DVD. Dismissed!
The Ultimate Players Association and CSTV present Ultimate 101. The flick, a throw from your dominant side like a forehand in tennis. The hammer, a high overhead throw. The disc flips upside down while in the air. The huck, a long pass, often nearly the full length of the field. The layout, when a player dives to catch, block, or intercept the disc.
Stanford takes on Texas, Friday at 9 on CSTV.
You got a gift, son. With that gift comes a lot of responsibility. That's why we're gonna pull you out of school. We're gonna get you a big-time agent. We're gonna hold out for the biggest pro sports contract possible.
Okay, Pop.
We're gonna make heaps of cash.
Welcome back to Annapolis with the Battle Memorial Archways off in the distance here. It's Army and Navy on the lacrosse field. They've met Every year for the last 3/4 of a century, we get a little bonus meeting today. Army gets into the Patriot League Finals as a result of this. 147 into Friday's semi. It's the Rookie of the Year, Matt Shield, with the impetus for the Black Knights to gain this final matchup with Navy under the direction of head coach Jack Emmer, who says that his team's tight-knit togetherness has led to wins. This is the way the coach will put him out on the field. These are the Bud Light starting lineups. On attack, Wagner and Walker are so productive, but Shield has exceeded expectations. In the midfield, this is the area of concern. Will Bachmeier and Couch and Larson rise up today? Defensively, the Black Knights will put a crunch on you, and Matt Leister is their most physical player. Paul, if Army is to win, spell out the game plan.
Army needs to score more from the midfield. It can't just be Johnny Walker and Jim Wagner today. Bachmeier's their only 10-plus goal scorer for the midfield. Guys like Couch and Larson and Green need to step up.
Up and at 'em, they want the goalie to perform better. Richie Meade, Army-Navy, you got to prepare for the intensity, but don't let it overwhelm you. This is Richie Meade's Bud Light starting lineup. At the attack position for the midshipman, Ben Horn is on quite a roll, going all the way back to last season. In the midfield, this is where Navy believes they have the advantage. Great athleticism, great speed all throughout. And defensively, Mitch Hendler did a wonderful job on Walker just 2 weeks ago. How will he perform today? One of the keys, but Paul, you have the others.
Yes, Navy needs to be able to run, use their athleticism at the midfield. Gill and the Looney brothers need to work the restraining lines. And John Bersner needs that clear head. He had a concussion on Friday, and let's see how he responds and leads the offense.
It is going to be a special one with a Patriot League Lacrosse trophy on the line on CSTV.
There is really only one boy. One girl. One tree. One forest. One deep, dancing ocean. One mountain calling. One handful of sand through our fingers. One endless sky overhead. And one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, EarthShare. One environment, one simple way to care for it.
Last Sprite.
That's mine! Back off, LeBron! Coming through! Nighty-night! Victory is mine! Show 'em my motto!
Nittany Lions know that victory is sweet, but running a close second is a blue and white institution, the Penn State Creamery. State College is in bona fide cow country, and the creamery has been dishing dairy products since 1896.
This is our ice cream room. We do over 180,000 gallons of ice cream per year in here. We have recipes for over 100 flavors.
At the creamery, ice cream is so fresh, its slogan is only 4 days from cow to cone.
We call these our flavor vats. We put our liquid ingredients in here like our vanilla, our peach flavorings, chocolate syrups, things like that. Anything that's liquid goes here. Then we go on over and we have a machine all the way at the end. That's our ingredient feeder. And our ingredient feeder is where we put in the hard ingredients like the candy, fruit nuts, things like that.
Once the ice cream is packaged, it's off to the freezer, where it's chilled to 26 degrees below zero.
In here we can hold, probably around 3,000 half gallons. On a typical football weekend, this can get pretty empty. Everybody wants to have ice cream.
The Creamery offers a course in ice cream making and counts a certain Ben & Jerry among its graduates.
We have about 100 students from around the world. Bill Clinton's been here. Martha Stewart's been here.
And of course, everyone has a favorite flavor.
Apple Cobra Crunch, Bavarian Raspberry Crunch, Raisins, Cookies and Cream, Chocolate Chip Cookie Dough, Chocolate Chip, Coconut Chip, Bittersweet Mint. Vanilla is #1.
RPI is located in Troy, New York, not far from Albany. 80% of the students here major in something like aeronautical engineering or eco-informatics. But among all the physics and math courses offered is the opportunity to study something a little different: video games.
It's been said before that games are the hardest type of programming above military applications, physical simulations. All of those different disciplines have to come together.
Many of the digital communications majors that we offer are beginning in the $60,000 a year range.
The major game takes about 3 years to make, and the budgets are now in the millions of dollars.
The entire thing is to design methods for making people have fun. I mean, why wouldn't I want to be a part of that?
A sun-splashed Sunday afternoon crowd in Annapolis getting set for Army-Navy in this Patriot League championship match, the net-minding duel. It's a freshman for Army, Adam Fullerton. Have a look at that record, 8-1. He got a little taste of Army-Navy 2 weeks ago, running up against the #1 netminder in the nation of a season ago, Matt Russell, who is 24-4 in 2 seasons as a starter. As we move to the face-off X, we focus in on Eric Minio and Chris Bazanka. And Paul, this will be a major factor throughout, as it always is, between Army and Navy.
Well, Coach Emmer was happy with Minio in the face-off group last game. He's really able to control Bazanka because he's one of the best in the nation.
Quickly, they fire and score right off the bat. It is Matt Shield, a mere 7 seconds in.
Minio got it going. Was able to beat Bazanka on the front draw. Just got a fast break there. And Shield. What a shot. High to low bounce shot. Leaving off just where he left off on Friday against Bucknell. The winning goal on Friday.
1:47 into sudden death overtime. Congratulations abound for Minio on the sideline, a mere 7 ticks into the contest. Bazanka was wonderful Friday against Lehigh in the semifinals and wins this draw cleanly to get Navy its first touch on offense. Bersner connecting with Ben Horn. Bersner back behind the goal with the ball now, number 7. A concussion in the first quarter of Friday's semifinal, and he's out there to play to start the championship match. Little gamesmanship from the midfield. Billy Looney rockets one over top.
It's going to be very important for Bersner to establish chemistry and offensive flow for the Navy midshipmen. He's their quarterback back there, and he does a great job, and he's marked by Matt Leister, who's one of the best in the nation.
It's a wonderful matchup. Steve Looney burrowing in there, and he was hit up high. As a short stick defensive midfielder Ben Harrell, the 24-year-old senior, came a-calling. Navy's ball just getting started, and if you're just tuning in on CSTV, Shield at the 7-second mark, giving the Black Knights in black the advantage. Ben Horn butting in against the defense of Jeff Auer. Bersner with Leister hung up. Horn from the angle, kicked out of there as Fullerton gets his first touch.
So important for Fullerton to make that first stop in this Army-Navy game. It's his first start in an Army-Navy game. He came off the bench and spelled Derek a couple weeks ago.
CSTV would like to extend a very special welcome to the service women and men around the world watching today's game on the American Forces Network. Of course, we do appreciate all it is that you're doing, protecting our great nation. Future military leaders on the field today, this Service Academy clash between the Naval Academy and the United States Military Academy, Army and Navy. For the second time this season, just 2 weeks ago, it was the midshipmen on this field, 12-9 victors.
Joe, if you see the way Army's playing defense right now, they have a long pole on Graham Gill, and they're short sticking the 2 Looney brothers.
Steve Looney right to the chest of Fullerton. And the freshman has handled his first 2 volleys quite well. This is where he excels. He has excellent clearing ability. Little lollipop for Ronan, who'll carry it across. And the Black Knights get their first settled situation of the game. High-scoring lefty Jim Wagner, a brilliant finisher, Paul. If you give him any space, he will burn you.
And I spoke to Coach Emmer earlier in the week. They really want Wagner playing a lot of unsettled lacrosse because they're so confident with his finishing ability in the open field.
The ultra-athletic John Walker back behind the cage, again marked by Mitch Hendler. Those two were staring daggers at one another 2 weeks ago, and Walker had a great game in terms of points with 2 goals and 4 assists, albeit in a losing effort. Walker shimmying back behind the goal. This Navy defense, which builds such a nice cocoon around Matt Russell. Walker in tight, he scores! Walker with a bounce shot. 2-0 Army.
John Walker establishing himself early in this game with a one-on-one move against the All-American Mitch Hendler. And it's the change of direction at X that you really have to focus on. He beats him at X, gets a step on him, and then throws it to the opposite corner. Very strong move by Walker. Watch for him really to go to the goal hard. Every game, he has the top defensive player on him, and he steps up, and he's continuing to score and score.
Huge goal totals. Nothing new for John Walker. He came right on to post in West Point. Broke the Army freshman goal scoring record and is carried right along to the point where someday he very well may be the overall goal scoring champion at Army. Just a junior.
Joe, to put up numbers like Walker has against the opposition's top pole really speaks volumes of his game.
Taking a look back at that earlier engagement, it was Army that jumped out that day, only to see Navy respond. Mitch Shipman in white if you're just tuning in. Wayne Osgood from the top. It was Osgood who had the game-winning goal in that regular season meeting between these two. Wallen looking for an alleyway. Bersner with Leister right in tow. Bersner has worked so much with offensive coordinator John Tillman. They are very much in lockstep with respect to the concepts of this offense. And he makes it go. Wallen again, moving against Auer with a chance. He sliced it wide. It's a crease violation. The ball goes back to Army.
And if you look at this game right now, 2 intriguing matchups. One is Bersner and Leister. Bersner from Navy and Leister from Army. And then the other side, Hendler and Walker. These are 2 great matchups.
And a matchup there when you're speaking of Bersner and Leister that began in their youth lacrosse days all the way through prep school performances and now at the varsity level for Army and Navy. Army shooting percentage very good against the nation's #1 netminder of a season ago. Walker just a few moments ago put one 5-hole on Russell right between the wickets to give Army the 2-goal bulge early on as we move towards the 5-minute mark.
Joe, if you look at this game right now, Army has to be confident that they're able to put 2 quick ones against this stingy Navy defense.
Mitch Hendler said it best a couple weeks ago. We need to be better on the ball. He included himself in that mix. You would imagine that Navy would want to spirit up that defense just now. Good look there from Chris Couch. The pass was low. It is not out of bounds. Fighting for it on the end line is Barger. As the hitting intensifies, the officials say it'll be Navy ball. These two arch rivals are very, very familiar with one another. This is meeting number 81.
Meeting 81, but Navy has controlled the recent matchups. Army hasn't been able to beat Navy since 1997. So the back of the minds of the Black Knights right now, they have to feel comfortable to get this lead and hopefully put an end to the streak that Navy has established.
We can underline that series history even more. 8 straight, yes. 11 of the last 13 have gone Navy's way. It has been a dominating performance. And what really mattered most for the midshipmen a couple of weeks ago was a brilliant third quarter. Graham Gill inside, good look for Horn. Rejected there as he tiptoed around that crease, but stepped in. Give the ball back to Army.
You look at this replay, Horn right on the doorstep. The reason why Horn was able to get this opportunity because Navy did such a great job of changing the midfielder from the defensive end. It was Graham Gill who was skating down the middle of the field, and the Army Black Knight defense showed so much attention that Horn was open there for the layup. He's got to can those.
When we return to the line play, it was a turnover against Army. As we see Navy's shot story unsuccessful with 5 chances against Fullerton in the early going. Here comes Mike Felber, newly minted, second-team All-Patriot League defender. Did a very fine job against Lehigh's Andrew Lucas at even strength. Lucas did all of his damage in the semifinals. He scored 3, did the most of the damage while Lehigh was man up. A 10-6 win for Navy, propelling them to the finals. Army, another 1-goal win over Bucknell. The poor Bison have lost 4 straight 1-goal games to the Black Knights. This one in overtime Friday right here.
I think Army's a confident game. Plays a confident game when it's close, Joe. The reason being, their senior and junior laden team really has the experience in those tight games.
One thing we've noticed about Navy, Paul, their spacing offensively has gotten better and better as the season progresses. Gill on a drive. Did not score against the Black Knights last time. Right here, he just got fouled.
So hold on Tori Sokol. I mentioned earlier, Gill has the matchup of the Army long pole, and he still went to the cage there. That just tells you a lot about Gill's game. He's a confident dodger.
Question mark today for Jack Emmer was whether or not he'd have his top long stick midfielder, E.J. Barron, who was injured against Duke. The Blue Devils really put a hurting on the Black Knights overall on the scoreboard, beat them 19-9.
Army's man down, 76% this year. That's unheard of. That is exceptional. Let's see if Navy can take advantage of this opportunity on the Sokol hold.
This was a Navy team that was tied for the Patriot League lead in terms of man-up goals during the regular season. Inside, off the iron there as Fullerton got the stick up in time. Sokol is backward, even strength. Bersner a little give and go. Down on the ground, it belongs to Ben Horn. He was nudged. And once again, the yellow hanky hits the turf. Moments ago, Paul, Navy just this close to getting on the board.
Horn's gonna wish he had that one back as well. That's 2 first quarter opportunities that Horn has had that he hasn't been able to close out, but that one was a good shot.
What a dependable goal scorer Ben Horn has been. He had 2 goals and 2 assists against Army a couple weeks ago. As you look at that trend that we were just detailing with Navy's effectiveness man up. And they're right back 6-on-5 right here. Marabito, impressive freshman. Gill to Marabito inside. He scores! Nick Marabito.
We're seeing some freshmen do some early damage here. Marabito able to finish on the doorstep. And if you see, they give the ball to Gill. Gill attracts so much attention with that big lefty gun. The defense shifts to him and lets Marabito finish right on the doorstep. So great finish by the freshman there. You know, Joe, when you have great shooters like Gill and Billy Looney, really stretches the defense and gives guys like Marabito opportunities right on the doorstep.
Well, when we spoke with Richie Meade leading up to this weekend about Nick Marabito, he had nothing but high marks for the youngster. You still see occasional glimpses of freshman mistakes, but 21 goals. He's among the top 5 freshmen in all the nation in first-year goal getting.
Navy plays a tough schedule. They play the Patriot League, and every game in that division is tough, and you have to look at their out-of-conference schedule. Maryland, Hopkins, North Carolina. He's doing it against great teams.
Army gets the ball back. They are in black, a 2-1 leader. Matt Shield, John Walker, the goal-getters for the Cadets. For the Mids, it's Nick Marabito from Graham Gill. Extra man at 7:46. Beautiful afternoon for lacrosse in Annapolis. The weather in the capital city of Maryland during this spring has been raw on too many occasions, but today it's brightened up nicely as Bachmeyer puts this one outside the meshing. Matt Russell begins the clear. Goalie has 4 seconds in that crease with a ball. Then he must vacate.
That was a good take by Bachmeyer, just a little bit off to hit the back of the net. But watch Russell's style. He plays a lot different than most of the netminders. He plays a very, very high crease. So oftentimes you'll see him get beat near pipe, but he's also right there on all the bounce shots. So it's kind of live and die by that style he has.
Now, he's not a super big guy at just about 5'7", trying to take away as much of the angle as possible. And now watching as his teammates go to the attack against the Black Knights, dipping below 6 minutes to go in the opening quarter on CSTV. It's 2-1 Army. William Wallace will tee it up.
Coach Meade going to the second midfield twice already in this first quarter, which is good because he wants to rest those guys. The Loonies and Gill do so much for this team. Rest them up and let them have fresh legs in the second, third, and fourth quarters.
Osgood working off the pick there. He was defended by Jay Larson. Inside it comes for a jump shot, and Fullerton looked sharp as he handled that bid from Wallace. Good retrieve there by Ben Horn. Keeps Navy in business. Bersner on a dodge against Leister. Leister roughs him up. What a big man Matt Leister is at 6'4" and close to 240. A step, turning the corner, Marabito, and Fullerton again took the angle away. Yakulis comes up with the ground ball. We should tell you, Army is without one of its top close defenders. Matt Bowerman was also injured in a game against Duke recently and did not play semifinal Friday.
You know, Joe, you mentioned about Leister being a big man. He's also deceivingly quick. He's able to play the quick guys like Bersner. And don't forget about Chris Cara from Bucknell. He did such a great job on him the last 2 times they played. And Cara's as quick as anyone in the nation.
The all-time Patriot League scoring leader, Chris Cara, finished his career with 249 points. On a rap, it's Walker, and Russell saves the day. Scrambling out the rebound. Score! It's goosed home in tight, and Army has the 2-goal lead back.
Johnny on the spot. John Walker. He's able to break that defense down from X again. This guy's almost unguardable with his uncanny quickness. Russell makes an outstanding save, but Walker gets his own rebound and one-hands it. What a sweet play by John Walker. The separation on the dodge. Doesn't give up on the play. You see, he just picks up the ball, gooses it to his own stick, one-handed, and throws it right in the back of the net. That's one that Navy really has to clear the crease on the rebound.
21-year-old Dix Hills, New York native. As we get an illegal procedure off the draw against Navy, giving the ball to Army. Walker continues to have the red letter type season, an honorable mention All-America 1 year ago. And most assuredly will draw votes in that regard this spring.
Joe, Coach Emmer said that Walker is as talented as a player as he's ever coached. I mean, those are high, high remarks from a guy like Coach Emmer, who's been around the game for a while and has coached many great players.
Jack Emmer's been at Army for 22 seasons. Back behind the cage, little feed inside. Wagner put that one downstairs and over top of the crossbar.
Continuing on Walker, I think he's elevated his game this year really to a high, high degree. If you look at his numbers in the past, he's primarily been that goal scorer. Going into this game, 30 goals and 28 assists. Those are even numbers. He's able to distribute the ball because of the attention that he's getting from the opposition's defense.
Playmaking ability like that has helped Army to 11 wins, just one off the school's all-time high. Quick inside for Graham Gill, and he was all by his lonesome, scolding himself after missing that quick stick.
Gill a little unlucky here. Wide open on the crease. As a shooter, you really want to go from that angle, high to low. Shoot right at the goalie's feet. Okay, the goaltender's up high, his stick's there. He has his big upper body like Fullerton. Put it at his ankles.
And Graham will tell you that one has to go in the next time he gets that opportunity.
Those are 2 or 3, Joe, right on the doorstep Navy's had in this first quarter.
Looney and Horn. Steve Looney looking for brother Billy. That was snared, taken back by Jeff Auer, brought across by Army's big defense. And now they'll settle into a 6-on-6 game with Ben Harrow. Chris Larson had a tally against Navy a couple of weeks ago. Shield, the Patriot League Rookie of the Year, finding Walker again. We were told that Walker's been playing with a bulky back. He's had some back spasms in the last few weeks. Doesn't seem to be impeding his progress any today.
Bulky back. This guy's as quick as it comes.
Just over 2 to go in the first quarter. Walker looking to finalize, and then he stepped in the crease. Give the ball to the midshipman in white.
Joe, as a Dodger early in this game, if you have some success against your player, and he's having that success, just there, he's unlucky, goes into the crease, he's able to gain separation from Hendler. He's going to continue to go to the cage until they stop him.
Gill, fleet of foot, thought better of taking on 2 Army defenders. Slows the pace, a little less than 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Navy on its home field in this Patriot League final, down 2, and Fullerton with another stop. A sharp-looking save on Horn.
Joe, one of our keys early on this game was for Fullerton really to establish himself. He is up and at him. He's playing great, especially on the shots right on the doorstep.
John Burton isolating from the top. Army may want to hold for the final possession here, with 1 minute and 15 seconds to go in the first, and the Black Knights in control by 2. Walker and Hendler. Hendler keeping him at stick's length. The pass got away there, too hot to handle for Chris Couch. They fight for it at the midline, and Yakulis comes up. Couch dodging Steve Looney. Burton, good ball movement. Wagner off of the leg of the defender there, Andrew Dow. 40 seconds to go in the first quarter. Remember, Mitch Hendler scored at the buzzer practically of the first quarter a couple weeks ago. Gill swimming by 1. Great look, weak side, and that shot did not get through. It was Marabido's bid that was spoiled.
We know Gill is a sniper with that left-handed shot. He's had 2 great looks here on those last 2 possessions, showing his complete game as well.
It'll be Army asking for time. We need to take a commercial break. Adam Fullerton has had a fine first quarter. The first-year freshman doing the job. Army with the advantage.
Tanks for every occasion.
The Ultimate Players Association and CSTV present Ultimate 101. The flick, a throw from your dominant side like a forehand in tennis. The hammer, a high overhead throw. The disc flips upside down while in the air. The huck, a long pass, often nearly the full length of the field. The layout, when a player dives to catch, block, or intercept the disc.
Stanford takes on Texas, Friday at 9 on CSTV.
You're watching CSTV, college sports television. More college sports than any other network.
Starting this June on Setanta Sports. Captained by Ireland's Brian O'Driscoll, follow the British and Irish Lions as they pit their skills against the New Zealand All Blacks in a 3-test match series.
Kick off the summer with the SummerSlam Triple Threat Package from DirecTV. Exclusively for DirecTV customers, order these 3 WWE pay-per-views all at once and save over $15. First on Sunday, July 24th, SmackDown presents The Great American Bash. Then on Sunday, August 21st, Raw and SmackDown presents SummerSlam. And on Sunday, September 18th, all your favorite Raw superstars wage war at Unforgiven. 3 incredible WWE pay-per-view events. One low price of $88.95. Order now at directv.com/WWE or call 1-800-DIRECTV.
You know, DirecTV has 100% digital quality on every channel.
DirecTV has top-ranking customer satisfaction.
Introducing Spread the Word, only from DirecTV. Now DirecTV customers can get a free month of service for every person they refer.
DirecTV offers access to over 225 channels.
So spread the word. Free DirecTV service is out there waiting for you.
John Walker has 2 of Army's 3. Army a 2-goal leader against arch rival Navy late first quarter. And our friends at US Lacrosse want to remind you about our uslacrosse.org. For more information about the organization or to join, visit uslacrosse.org. US Lacrosse, one for all. Busy time for them at this stage of the year with all the conference tournaments and national tournaments on the horizon. Head coach Richie Mead's midshipmen find themselves down by 2. Jack Emmer and Richie Mead, very, very good friends. Jack Emmer used to employ Richie as an assistant in the early 90s at West Point.
I think that experience for Coach Mead and getting acclimated to the military life and military lacrosse really was valuable for him becoming the coach he is today. And I think he really thanks Coach Emmer for that opportunity.
He always reminds us it's a very emotional game, obviously, on the field, but a tough one for him on the sideline, trying to get the better of one of his mentors. Walker. That pass gets away. Shield runs it down with just 3 seconds left. Dow right in his face. Shield to the front. Russell has it, and you hear the horn, ending the opening 15 minutes of play. Adam Bullerton has outplayed Matt Russell to this point in the contest. And the Patriot League Championship game has gone 1 quarter complete with Army in front. The Stars and Stripes proudly on display in Annapolis. We'll look back at some of Fullerton's best stops with you before we start quarter number 2, right here on CSTV.
Come on, boy. Come on. What do you got there, Yogi? Huh? What have you found? What do you got, little fella? Drop it. Looks like someone's butt. Man, they probably lost it playing with their kids. Hey, leave it. Come on. Come on.
One of the key factors to our success this year is definitely our blocking. A lot of it is timing and anticipation and reading, going through all different types of reps, going through different types of scenarios because you don't know what you're going to see when you're out there. I really think it starts with picking up the setter and anticipating where he's going to set the ball, because if you can do that, it'll give you more time to get to the hitter and get to the ball. The key to blocking once you get out to the hitter is getting your hands across the net. I'll make my first step depending on where the set's going. Then I'll bring my left foot across and swing around and jump straight up, get my hands across the net. And while I'm doing all this, I'm watching the hitter to see where his arm swing is going to take the ball.
Oh, that was awesome.
One more time.
Oh.
Your team's good at blocking, you can turn points real quickly. So if you're down a few and you have a serve that's putting the ball in, you can run a bunch of points, get back into a match, or you can open the match up. Everybody kind of counts on attacking as your key to success, but blocking can make a difference in the game.
Today we're going to learn the curveball. I feel like it's one of the easiest pitches for you guys to learn. I like to grip it across the 2 horseshoes. The easiest grip, I think, to teach, though, is across the horseshoe in general. Pretty easy pitch. We do our full motion. We get to about here, and instead of coming straight down, I like to get in tight to my body, finish around. We make sure our hand is flat to the ground, or the back of our hand is flat to the ground, and snap all the way around the pitch. I don't think any pitcher masters a pitch within a few days or even weeks. I got it within a couple months. For me, as soon as I snap it off, I can feel my spin's tight enough to hit the spot I want it to, and it's going to move enough. My curveball is pretty much about 62, 63 miles an hour. There are times that before the pitch has even crossed the plate, I'm trotting off the field because I know it's a strike.
Army scored early, 7 seconds in, and carries a 3-1 lead after one. They've got excellent net minding, 2 to this point, Paul. Adam Fullerton has come ready to play.
Fullerton, the freshman, playing his first Army-Navy game as a starter. Stopping Looney, and then Horn, and then got lucky on the post. But he's been playing great. And if you look at the way he's playing, especially in tight, he's really doing a nice job going stick on stick with the Navy offensive players.
When Matt Derrick was injured in early March, a broken thumb in practice, it was Fullerton who took the mantle for 7 straight games, won them all, set Army freshman goaltending records in the process, and has made Jack Emmer's thought process all the more difficult. They're just trying to find one guy to be the hot hand to take them through this tournament and a potential NCAA tournament. And it may be Fullerton, the freshman. Gill with a jump shot, he scores! Graham Gill.
Graham Gill breaking it down from up top. And Gill does an outstanding job here. He's a lefty, so he sells the Navy defenseman to his right-hand side and then just goes hard and high overhand. And if you watch his ability to break the defense down there, he wanted his left hand, and he sold the Army defenseman that he was going right the whole time.
14 on the season now for Graham, who finished up the semifinals against Lehigh playing mostly at the attack position. It was Bersner who didn't play in the second half after that concussion. So Gill was moved down from his customary midfielder spot. Graham did not score against Army a couple weeks ago. He's got one today, it's 3-2. Walker given a whack by Mitch Hendler. Hendler, who goes through the game weeks in a very irritable mood. He's nobody's friend on a game day, not even his own teammates.
Gets in the zone. He's got his work cut out for him today, guarding Johnny Walker. That's as tough as a matchup as he's seen all year.
Dow against Shield. Shield trying to turn the corner. Good ball movement. Hummed wide. Wagner just misfired. That lightning quick release. Back come the midshipmen with Seth Dinolo. Their long stick midfielder, their former starting goalie. Great dish for Steve Looney. One more to Marabito. Bullseye.
End-to-end action, and it started with the former goaltender, Dinola. It's a great job of Dinola picking up the loose ball, and he starts the break. Hits that point man. Right down to Marabito. Marabito caught Fullerton cheating off the pipe. He beat him near pipe. The goaltender wants to be on that pipe, Joe. And he was able to sneak it right in there near pipe.
Tony Vizzolo digging in against Chris Pizanka at the X. Brand new ball game. Navy with a couple of goals in the first 83 seconds of the second quarter. Whistle. The officials today, Kevin O'Leary, Terry McNabb, and Dave Berman, spotting a hold here. It's going to give the ball to the Black Knights.
And if you look at the way that these two teams have matched up in the past, Navy with their athletic midfield always gets their runs. Army hasn't been able to match those runs. It's so crucial for the Black Knights to be able to match the runs of the athletic Navy midshipmen.
We talked about their regular season game a year ago up at West Point when Navy went for 10 straight goals in that drubbing. 18-10 decision. A lot tighter a couple of weeks ago here at 12-9. And 3-3 for the moment. Walker on the ISO. That one out of the head of his cross over top. Navy, from a season review standpoint, comes in at 10-3, and this team wants the Patriot League crown to vault them into the tournament.
Get that automatic bid and go into the playoffs with some momentum. Both these teams will be playing in the NCAA tournament. Right now, though, the Patriot League Championship is what's at stake. That's what they're playing for here, and it's Army and it's Navy.
Handler continues to play lumberjack against Walker. Now Garger does just the same. Walker keeping it on the perimeter for Shield. Next in line, Brian Green, 22-year-old senior from upstate New York. Chris Couch, who after his scholastic days are through, will branch in the infantry of the Army. This one's bowled right through the crease. The rebound hit the goal post. So Matt Russell hears that pleasant sound behind him. Off to the races comes Steve Looney. Fast break developing. Horn skipping between two, and he was fouled. Delayed penalty, it'll come against Army. Navy soon to have the extra man in this 3-3 struggle on CSTV for the Patriot League title.
What a nice glimpse of Looney running that full field. He's got a motor. He has the ball right now here, trying to finish it.
Looking to dodge against Chris Couch. Rolls back to his left. Bersner, sightseeing for Gill. Little stutter step, drive, and just wide. We hear the whistles. Here comes the 6-on-5 for Navy.
Gill doing another outstanding job of setting up that left hand. He's a lefty. We saw him score, though, the tying and the winning goal here against Maryland, Joe, on that Friday night. Both right-handed goals, but he likes his left.
A few moments ago, it was anxious moments for Matt Russell. Brilliant little dive shot there by Wagner that caught the iron. Midshipmen trying for their first lead on the day right here. Already 0 for 2 with the extra man. Marabito, a couple of goals today. He has been a multiple point machine this year for Navy. Bersner coordinating. Billy Looney, a sharpshooter from the top. Gill and Marabito playing catch. They force feed Steve Looney, and the ricochet winds up right at the goaltender, Adam Fullerton.
On the man up, you want to get a scoring opportunity. It's really discouraging for a coach in the man up group not to test the goaltender and get a good shot.
Good work, feverish work at the midfield, but a flag has hit the turf. Three. Here's the commotion at midfield. Woo. Graham Gill with a necktie on Tom Ronan.
Situation like this, it's crucial that Army can test Russell here. The Army defense was able to stymie that Navy man up. Now they're on the other side here, trying to make the most of this opportunity.
Jack Emmer looking on from the Army bench after we saw Richie Meade lecturing Graham Gill. Gill put his team in a little bit of hot water late in the first half of the semifinals here on Friday against Lehigh. But good man down defense and better saves by Matt Russell propelled them out of it. Walker drives and scores! It's an early hat trick for John Walker.
Walker showing some range here. We knew John Walker was able to dodge with the best of them. But the outside cannon from about 15 here. Looks like Russell got a screen in his face here, and Walker did a nice job of recognizing that. Wagner's on the crease, blocking Russell's vision there.
It's a brave play by Wagner. Walker gets all the credit for that long-range blast, but Jim Wagner's the guy who's given up his body about 6 yards in front of the goal. Midshipmen trying to come up with the draw, and they do it. The extra man strike from Walker, his third of the game, giving Army the lead in the seesaw battle 4-3.
Real smart play by Walker, too. The flag was down. It was a free play. So you go for that opportunity. You take a chance, knowing that your team will regain possession if you don't make it.
Bersner back behind the goal, number 7 in the white. Let's see if he'll take it strong to the cage. This is just, what, 48 hours after a concussion from the semifinal game. Graham Gill will want to get that goal back. It was Gill's penalty that put Navy at the disadvantage. 6-on-6 right now, midshipmen in the white here at home, where they have sustained just one loss all year, that to Georgetown. Billy Looney swings for Gill. Keep it on the outside, Tommy Wallen, a very hard shot for him. Beautiful pass, they score! Ben Horn from John Bersner.
We mentioned how important Bersner is to this offense. He's the trigger man, the quarterback, recognizing an opening on the crease. A good team always dodges, breaks down the defense, and it's always 2 passes away. And Horn is the recipient of a very nice feed by Bersner right on the top of his stick. Horn put it right where he needed to, low and away.
At the X, another whistle. And again, possession will be afforded to Army, as Pazanka and Wallace are having their difficulties coordinating there. You see Richie Meade, he was saying earlier in the week, the one guy we can't live without, such a significant difference in our team when he's not out there, that's John Bersner, and he had to be holding his breath after Bersner went down in the first quarter a couple days ago, but that splendid pass gets Navy back in the tie.
When I heard Bersner was questionable, I knew right away he was playing. It's the Patriot League Championship.
And
You're playing against Army. He's playing. He's a tough, gritty guy. He wasn't going to miss this one.
Slippery little move. Russell slams the door. Matt Russell going high for the rejection there on Bachmeier. Black Knights get it right back, though. Their primary offensive threat today has been John Walker, with 3 goals already on the afternoon as we move towards the midway mark of the second quarter. A Navy team that's won 7 of its last 9 overall. The top seed in this Patriot League tournament, the black jersey Black Knights, second ranked, second seeded. Sharp angle back for Shield. Move it to the top, Walker. Wagner with Dow right in his grill. Midshipman balancing up man-to-man on D. Shield drawing the short stick, Dan Harris. He dodges well, and Russell makes the big stop.
On that last possession, Army was inverting the short sticks behind. You saw Johnny Walker up top trying to be a force in the midfield area, and they went with guys like Shield and Russell. Close the door. Shield's got to change his levels. As a shooter, you want to come in that angle and fake high and go low, or fake low and go high. Don't shoot from the same level that you start from.
Paul, it was Jim Wagner who told me that Matt Shield's actually a better dodger than Jeff Bryan, the guy who coordinated the Army offense the last 4 years. Great pass inside, and another stick back for Graham Gill. Navy faithful up in arms about Gill's second of the day.
But when you have a first-team All-American at the other end, stopping the Army run, and a quarterback like Bersner, and a finisher like Graham Gill, that's ingredients for success. Bersner throws another one right on the stick of his teammate, and Gill right there, high to low, puts it right where he needs to.
Paul Carcaterra, during your All-American career at Syracuse, you were known as a shooter. What is involved for a feeder to put the ball in just the right spot, the way Bersner does time after time for Navy's first lead?
Well, I think feeders really need confidence, and they need to know that their teammates will finish opportunities, even on those tight passes. You got to be able to take a chance as a feeder, and Bersner is able to do that. Don't just throw the ball when the guy's wide open. Take a chance in your ability to throw it in an area that might be congested, that you have that just little inch or margin for error, and you really capitalize on those things. Great feeder do that.
John Burton, 22-year-old junior. His brother Mike was a Colgate grad and served in the armed forces in Iraq. Burton, pretty elusive. We saw him slither around in these instances a couple of weeks ago and do it quite well against Steve Looney and friends. 5-4 for the midshipmen.
You know we're going to get production from Wagner and Walker. These guys like Couch, and Larson, and Green, they need to step up and score some goals here today for Army to have a chance.
Here's one of your keys. Moore must score. Walker keeping up his end of the bargain. You look at some of the trends in this one. Not much to separate these two. The feed comes to the front. They move it quickly. Brian Green on the skip. Shield. He'll choose Walker. And once again, they'll balance up 6-on-6. Chris Couch maneuvering in against Pazanka, the face-off specialist. Great pass. They score! Wagner, no mistake.
Talking about pinpoint feeds, this is a great one by Couch. Chris Couch, the younger brother of Jake Couch, throws it to a cutting Wagner, and Wagner, he's money in the bank from in tight. He's that lefty finisher that every team wants to have on their squad, and he does it with the best of them.
Is he ever. Huge goal totals for Mr. Wagner. Push into the face-off X. Big draw here. And it comes up for Navy. Moving in, William Wallace fires and scores! Wallace spelling Pazanka and taking a page from his book.
Right off the face-off, William Wallace, giving Pazanka that much needed rest, takes it all himself. He beats the midfielder there, and the slide isn't there from the backside from Army, and he does a great job recognizing that, puts it exactly where he needs to, opposite side.
Patriot Leaguers know Wallace very well at the face-off X. There was one game this year against Lafayette where he won all 13 straight face-offs he took. Wins the draw there, bags his 7th of the season, gives Navy the lead. More in the first half in a moment.
This CSTV program is brought to you by GEICO. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
So, what do you think?
In the time it takes to take out the trash, you could save hundreds on car insurance. GEICO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Let's get campy!
New clothes are fun, but they won't save you money on car insurance.
GEICO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Why haven't you called GEICO?
Will the owner of a spare tire please report to the press box to retrieve your appendage? They must have lost this parking further from the stadium and walking in.
The Sprite, it belongs to me.
Come and get it. Your cream style is no match for my lemon lime eagle claw. Blah, blah, blah. Watch the afro. Never mess with a brother Sprite. Show him my motto. All you had to do was say please.
My name's Harry Williams. I was an iDaughter in 1957 at the game in which we played at Ann Arbor with those people from up north. It means a lot to each of us that have done that. Everybody represents the team, the band, the students, the tuba player throughout the state of Ohio.
Dotting the I for the Ohio State Marching Band has become the most recognized and prestigious band position in the country. Each game, a different senior sousaphone player, through a series of highly competitive intra-squad challenges, becomes immortalized in Buckeye history.
The Ohio State Marching Band's first performance of the Script Ohio was in 1936, and the director, Eugene Weigel, at the time was the person credited for creating the moving Script Ohio. And this created an instant sensation and success.
The idea of as though a giant pen were spelling out with band members the word Ohio in script. The drill basically unwraps, and then the climax of the whole drill is when the sousaphone player dots the I.
When I did it, it was at the 37.5-yard line. The tuba player would move his right foot out and be able to turn completely with the sweep of the foot. And something like this, but I can't do that too well anymore. But anyhow, he would turn around, and he would take his hat off, and then he would bow, just like that, with his horn, and his bell would touch the ground, and then he would come up, and he would put his hat on.
Ohio State's band members spend 3 hours every day practicing in the shadow of the horseshoe, perfecting their musicianship and formations.
It's a tremendous commitment in terms of their time and energy, but these students love to be in this band, and they will do what it takes. We feel football's a physical environment. It's exciting, there's energy there, and we look for that in students. Many of them, run laps and run the stairs and spend all summer, in the gym working out.
Doing Script Ohio is you have to be very meticulous and very precise. Everybody has to know exactly where they're going. The biggest concern and the problem there is the crossovers. We got to pass through each other. There's been many collisions, many busted out teeth, fat lips, bloody nose, whatever. I remember my first time doing it. It's a little intimidating coming up that crossover. Really got to know where you are and don't screw up. If you screw up, we're going to come down on you.
A fourth-year sousaphone player and at the top of his class, Brian had first choice of games to dot the I. It was an easy choice.
Of course, I'm going to take home Michigan. It's Ohio State, Michigan. Got to do it. I hope we don't lose. I would hate to dot that game and lose.
Dotting the I at the Michigan game to me was really one of the greatest moments in my life, and to have the focus of 105,000 fans is truly amazing. This tradition has been going on here for over 65 years, and the sound of the band, the glint of the all silver-plated instruments, you know, the sun shining on a Saturday afternoon, it just all adds to the color and pageantry of what is great about college football.
How about a look-see at our U.S. Lacrosse Coaches of the Week? Amy Patton, affectionately referred to as the General, beating Princeton last week. Seeing that unblemished record, though, with one loss now thanks to the BU Terriers. On the men's side, Greg Cannella and UMass rolling. They beat Georgetown, and now, Paul, don't shed a tear, they upended Syracuse yesterday.
Anytime Syracuse travels up to UMass and plays in the quote-unquote pit, they have a tough time. The last 2 times they've traveled up there, they've lost. UMass has a very veteran team. They have guys like Billy Shell playing in net, 4-year starter. Guys like Matt Garcia and Zawicki. Those guys are battle-tested, and it's really showing dividends this year for them.
Beautiful day for lacrosse. Gentle breeze is here in Annapolis. It was UMass downing Syracuse yesterday in overtime. The Canadian sharpshooter Jeff Zawicki potting the game winner in that one. Today on CSTV, men's Division I action. This is the Patriot League Championship game. It is the midshipmen with a big second quarter after sputtering in the first to take the 6-5 control. Graham Gill already with 2 on the day as the mids complete their midfield substitution. Marabito, Bersner, and Horn, the talented trio on attack in white.
Gill with 2 early goals. Look for the long pole to stay on him in short pole matchups against Steve and Billy Looney. So those are the guys who will probably dodge on this possession.
Ben Harrow trying to string out the defense here. That one sent on the way, and whew, it was a rough run for Tommy Wallen. Wallen, an amazing hitter in his own right. Before the day is done, that very physical midfielder will lay somebody out with an open field hit. It's almost routine. Bersner in full sprint, galloping in against Leister. Look at Leister body up on him. Good stick there by Yakulis in the passing lane. Yakulis getting a lot more minutes today with Matt Bowerman out injured. Whoops, lost his footing. Walker says no problem.
Leister's really a complete defender. Does a nice job guarding those big, bulky attackmen. And can play the quick, shifty guy like Bersner. That's what you want in a defender.
Got some pretty interesting summer plans. He'll be on a base in Fort Bliss, Texas. He'll also be spending time on a military base in England during the summer months. Ground ball story, so important between service academies. Dead even. Not much separating them on the big board where it matters the most. Matt Shield playing catch with Bachmeyer. It was Bachmeyer from nearly that spot. A wicked shot high offside on Matt Russell in the 12-9 loss a couple weeks ago. Hasn't had a chance to really uncork one today. Walker has. Chopped by Gill. Turns him over to Hendler. Keep it moving. Bachmeyer fires, looking for that same spot, and he just missed.
When you have a Dodger like Johnny Walker, who's able to break down the defense, it's always 2 passes away to get that great shot, and that look that Bachmeyer had. You had Walker dodging, breaking down the D, hit one guy, and then Bachmeyer on the backside. That's good offense.
Bachmeyer setting the screen there for Walker, who just misfired. Talking about the defense and the way these guys are laying the lumber, quote unquote.
Johnny Walker, his arms are going to be all black and blue tomorrow. Guys like Hendler and Graham Gill laying some lumber.
Very much so. 6-5 Navy, getting late in the opening half with you on CSTV. A reminder to stay with us, some good things planned during our intermissions break. Jake Couch, twin brother Chris is on this squad as well. Walker's been dodging a lot from the top today. Overhand and a good split save by Matt Russell.
Joe, the reason you're seeing a guy like Walker from up top, he's such a strong, quick, smooth athlete. He's able to shoot on the run. He's taking Hendler to a territory that he's not familiar. Hendler is a close defender who does a great job guarding the attackman from goal line extended and behind. He's taking him in a place that he's not too comfortable.
It's a really good point. Bachmeier, who improved all throughout last season. As a plebe, as a freshman on post at West Point, he got better and better. By the end of the year, he was in the first midfield group and was a big factor for Army in its NCAA tournament game against Maryland. The Black Knights have been in the tournament the last 2 years. They've been ousted in the opening round. Last year by the Terps, 2 years ago by the Blue Jays, top-ranked Johns Hopkins. Shield with Dow pinching out.
I think Army likes the 6-on-6 settled game. They're not as athletic as Navy. They don't want to get into a running match. Navy can throw 6 midfielders at you that can run and gun all day. Army wants to control it and play some settled 6-on-6 offense.
Bachmeier off the invert. Shield looking to the crease. Down it bounces for Russell. A little juggling episode, and now he'll play. 1 minute, 15 seconds to go in the quarter. Hendler full sprint looking for the break. Marabito coming cross field. Bersner had that deflected by Leister, and the mids will settle. The calming influence for Marabito and Horn. 1 minute left, opening half of the Patriot League championship game. Navy won the first ever Patriot League tournament a season ago, besting Hobart. Now they'd like to taste that sweet success against their arch rivals from the military academy. Graham Gill, who says the midshipmen had the advantage between the restraining lines. That's why they've authored such dominance over the Black Knights in recent years. See if that plays out again today. Billy Looney on the go. Looney fires one wide of Adam Fullerton, who had a very, very fine first quarter. Coming up at the half, you'll be heading back to the Fieldhouse in New York. Scores and analysis from around the nation. Plus, we'll venture back to a couple of weeks ago right here in Annapolis and spell out how Navy beat down Army 12-9 that day. Of course, Paul and I will go through statistics and highlights of today's matchup just the same. 15 seconds away from that are we. Midshipman will clear it out. Jeff Auer there to defend. On the move, a hard shot, and Fullerton got a piece of that bid from Tommy Wallen.
Great rip by Wallen there, taking advantage of the short stick.
Closing in. Whistle against the midshipmen. It'll be Army with not a lot of time to work. The Black Knights, a very, very strong team this year at 11-3. They have trailed at the half in the last 6 games out, and Army has still managed to come from behind for 4 triumphs. So that will await them in the remaining 30 minutes of regulation as they trot off to the dressing room. We go to break here in Annapolis, where Navy stands tall, a 6-5 leader after 1. Enjoy the half. We'll talk with you in a matter of moments right here on CSTV.
Oh! Not a chance. Nice shot.
Were your eyes open? Not bad. Thanks. You really think that's working?
No. Let's get out of here, man.
Yeah, you ready for We're taking 2 weeks, making a movie about what we see. We don't know what we're gonna get.
Don't leave home without this.
What kind of kids actually get off the couch and go do something? So we made this left turn, and
yeah, you see directions, bro.
All of a sudden, we're in the middle of a bunch of bike jousters. I guess they built these things from scratch, and Lathan Scott jumped on a bike, ate it a couple times. We gave him a Coke and headed to the next town to see what other things kids are doing.
Get home delivery of the New York Times, now in more U.S. locations than ever before.
It tells me in depth what I want to know.
Even if you don't live in New York, I think it's great to get the New York Times.
Get home delivery of the New York Times at 50% off. Call 1-800-859-9100.
It gives you the national perspective.
They're worldwide, really.
Science Times, Arts and Leisure.
Sports, I clip articles, I clip recipes.
It's just a useful tool.
Make your day richer with the New York Times. Get home delivery at 50% off for 12 weeks, as low as $2.40 a week.
The New York Times really tries to get at the truth.
I respect the Times.
It's aerobics for the brain. Sort of the how-to, when to, where to.
I started reading the New York Times when I was 7 years old. It's part of my family tradition.
It's concise, it's evocative. It makes me feel like I'm in the know.
Get home delivery at 50% off, as low as $2.40 a week.
I feel like there's a broader scope.
It's fun to read.
It helps keep me inspired.
Now get home delivery in even more U.S. locations. Call 1-800-859-9100 for the New York Times at 50% off.
There's the Times and there's everything else.
This month on DirecTV. Attention! DirecTV Freeview presents 25 Years of Stripes. Drop behind the scenes of this comedy classic, featuring all new interviews with Bill Murray.
It was really quite a bit of fun.
Director Ivan Reitman.
Comedy is so subtle.
Harold Ramis.
I love just sitting there being like a monkey.
And long-lost deleted scenes.
Oh, where did you hear that?
Enlist every weekend this month, only on Channel 124.
It's free. You're kidding.
And don't miss the special offer on Stripes, the extended cut DVD. Dismissed!
Xbox and CSTV have teamed up to present the next great college sport. It's the 2005 National Collegiate Paintball Championship, presented by Xbox. See America's most accurate marksmen from the nation's top schools, all caught in the crossfire. It's the 2005 National Collegiate Championship, presented by Xbox. Thursday at 9, only on CSTV.
A lovely second quarter for Navy. 5 goals in particular, getting the better of Army 6-5. At the half, pretty maids all in a row. It was Adam Fullerton getting the call between the pipes for Army today, Paul, and he has performed extremely well.
Yes, he has. He's kept his team in the game early with saves on Steve Looney, and then Ben Horn closing the door.
Graham Gill wanted to have the big game today. That jump shot sparking the mids.
Can't forget about William Wallace taking the face-off. 7 seconds down right through the pipe.
So there's your video review. As far as the numbers are concerned, we would expect it to be tight, and it is.
6-5 ball game, and if you look at the stats, very similar in the shots, saves. Army's advantage by 3 there, but a very close game. And you're going to see in the second half to really watch Army try to chop the field in half, and Navy, on the contrast, trying to get up and down and use their midfield.
It's true. The more that they can run, the more the guys in white can run, one would imagine they would have the upper hand in outlasting the Black Knights. A little push off the draw gives the ball to the midshipman. We're seeing more of William Wallace at the face-off X than Chris Pazanka, and that's a little bit of number 2 getting the better of number 1 on the depth chart. Good pass inside. Score! Wide open, Seth Danola.
Seth Danola. This guy was a starting goaltender for the midshipmen in the beginning of the 04 season, and he's starting fast breaks and scoring goals with the long pole now. It's a late substitution. What Danola did earlier is he faked the substitution and he cut down to the offensive end and no one guarded the long pole.
First goal of the year, first goal of his career for Seth Danola. Obviously, we mentioned his goaltending exploits in the past. Became a long stick defender in Game 4 a season ago. As the midshipmen start quickly in the second half, this has been a game where we have seen goals come right out of the chute.
Runs. It's all about face-offs. Getting possession, and creating and stopping the runs. That's what the face-offs do. And Navy is exceptional at that with a 1-2 punch like Pazanka and William Wallace.
This is a very proud Army team. They'll dig in now and not let Navy run away if they have their way with it.
Joe, let's talk about Danola for a minute. It's not like switching from wide receiver to tailback. You're a goaltender, and you switch to long pole, and you're covering some of the best midfielders in the nation, guys like Kyle Harrison. Those are types of athletes that are very difficult to match up, and Danola's doing a great job.
Here comes Dan Harris on the fly, looking to go in transition. Harris keeps it on the wing. Back behind for Bersner, already with 2 assists today. That's nothing compared to what he did earlier in the year when he had an 8-assist game. There he was force-feeding that pass inside. And Clipper Lennon didn't get that one to find a home. CSTV extending a very special greeting to the service women and men around the world watching today's game on the American Forces Network. Ladies and gentlemen, a big thumbs up to you for all of your efforts. Bersner in lockstep there with Leicester. Bersner loses him in the wash, feeds the front, face dodges a beauty, and Fullerton just got up there in time on Marabido.
And from this angle, you could really see Navy does a fabulous job in the substitutions. And if you stick to that plan, you might only get 1 or 2 more opportunities in a game, but that could decide the outcome.
There's that little bit of gamesmanship that they put on at the midfield line with their substitutions, and often they sneak a guy in there to get a quality shot, a quality opportunity.
If you're not used to it, it's tough to defend, and it's about creating space.
Gill losing Sokol. Graham Gill right on in. No angle there just yet. They trade him off. Marabido, bullseye!
We talked about runs. Navy going on one right now. 2 unanswered goals. And Marabido, the freshman, is the recipient of an excellent feed by Gill. We know Gill is the big lefty shooter, but I've seen 3 or 4 feeds from this kid today that really are showing that he has a complete game. Tracks so much attention from the defense. 2 guys go to him, sees the cutting Marabido. And Marabido goes back door on his man. His man just lost sight of him for 1 second. What a smart play by Marabido, finding that seam.
For Marabido, his 3rd hat trick of the season. He had one against Colgate, he had one against Lehigh. He now has one against arch rival Army. Navy with a little bit of breathing room. A 3-goal bulge. Just getting started in the second half with you on CSTV. Along with Paul Carcaterra, I'm Joe Beninati. Good men and women in our CSTV crew enjoying Annapolis once again, where we will be for the Women's Division I title game in a few weeks, as everything starts to heat up in college lacrosse. Good look inside. Good stick check just the same. It was Wagner who was playing the feeder there.
Seen a guy like Marabido today getting a hat trick. He had to be high up there in the Patriot League Rookie of the Year tallies. And I'll tell you, a guy like him is getting an opportunity this year, probably one he wouldn't have had with Ian Dingman being back here on this club. Dingman was a preseason first-team All-American. Was not able to play the season and opening the door for Marabido, who's having a stellar freshman campaign.
Navy in the white with Graham Gill on the ball. Gill with a pair of first half strikes. Clipper Lennon, the defensive specialist. Little give back for Gill. Gill likes that jump shot so much, and with good reason. Graham Gill telling the fans to give it up. "9-5 midshipmen."
And we talked about the substitution by the midshipmen. Here it comes, look at this. They fake like they're going through the midline for a fake sub, and it's 3 passes away. But it creates opportunities for Graham Gill. It's the little things, Joe. And Navy is doing it so well. They faked the substitution, brought the man back in the offensive end for a numbers game, and had an unsettled situation.
And Graham Gill is having himself quite a day. Navy lengthening its advantage. It continues with more in the third quarter here on CSTV.
Outstanding. Yeah, I just can't drink the regular stuff anymore. It's got no flavor, no kick. It tastes like mouth. But this tastes crisp, fresh. You come home from the park, take a big gulp of this. It'll knock the taste of tennis ball right out of your yap.
Dasani, now available in lemon or raspberry flavor.
As the days grow longer in Happy Valley and spring sports get set to take center stage.
This is
Vazzolo says, get out of my way. Swing, they go to BYU and Air Force the next couple of weekends. Today, it's Navy playing here at home at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. Vazzolo wins the draw, right to the cooker, he scores! Tony Vazzolo says, get out of my way.
We've seen this a few times today. The face-off man taking it in their own hands, and Vazzolo just runs, and they don't stop him with the point defender. So he walks in himself and throws it in the bottom corner. What a great shot for a face-off specialist.
Vazzolo gets his first marker of the campaign in an opportune moment, bringing the Black Knights within 3. He won 59% as a freshman, 51% this year. Now the junior, 21-year-old New York native. With a procedure against Navy, it's Army right back with a lacrosse ball.
And a lot of times what you see when a face-off man wins that draw and throws it in front of them, the defense is very slow to go to them because they'd rather have the face-off specialist, who probably doesn't have a great of a stick as a Jim Wagner or a Johnny Walker. They'd rather see him shoot than throw it in the doorstep to one of these sharpshooters.
Matt Shield cloaked there by Dow, draped all over him, as he has been for most of the day. It was Shield who started the scoring spree early for Army, just 7 seconds into the game. And after that, he's been quiet. John Walker had 3 goals in the first half. For Army, number 29 in the black. They'll skip him. Keeping it on the outside with Jake Couch. Now Walker straight away. Shield on the drive. Dow switching over with Harris. Wagner. Complimented by Bachmeyer. Bachmeyer's bouncer. A little too much turf. And the backup belongs to Navy. Good hustle.
Great hustle by the midshipman defense. And Army's a little unhappy, but from up here you could see it's closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds, not the end line. Army was higher, or closer, I'm sorry, to the end line, but Navy is closer to the ball.
This is a Navy team that has been so tough to penetrate defensively this year. Their goals against average was so good a season ago. This year, right up there, top of the heap, and holding high-powered Army to just a 6th spot as we move towards the 5-minute mark of quarter number 3. Naval Academy in the white with Bersner, the quarterback. Ben Horn trying to keep his goal-scoring streak alive. He now has tallies in 15 straight, including this one. Ben Harrow pinching out defensively. Gill slowing things down with Steve Looney. Billy Looney was the shooting hero a couple weeks ago. Had 3 pretty goals, most of them from the outside. Got an advantage on Matt Darrick, senior co-captain, normal starting netminder for Army. Today it's been Fullerton, Adam Fullerton with 6 saves in the first quarter, but since then, Navy's been able to figure him out a little bit. Steve Looney on the roll dodge. One more for Gill. Little push pass was deflected. Bersner in hot pursuit. Yakulis took him down, and the push will give Navy the ball.
I think right there what you see is one too many passes. Looney gets separation on that short stick. He probably should have shot that. And then Gill with the right hand, the natural lefty.
Billy Looney with his teammate. Rocket to the top corner, Paul. And it is double figures for Navy.
Well, when you have an offensive threat like Gill, who's creating so much on that end of the field for the midshipmen, it opens the door for the other snipers. Billy Looney with a rip. This is a great shot. Watch his location. He dips his stick low, gets Fullerton thinking low, and then comes back with a high, hard rip. That is exactly what you want as a shooter. Just change your levels. Went low to high there and really got the best of Fullerton in the guessing game.
17 now for Billy on the year. He had a pair against Lehigh that helped push Navy into this Patriot League championship game, and now the midshipmen looking to separate themselves from the Black Knights, but Army won't go away. Walker, bang! Right off the draw again.
Johnny Walker single-handedly keeping this team in the game. This is a textbook fast break. Point man to Walker. Walker just takes a step up to increase his angle and rips one past Russell. And he beat Russell there on the near pipe. We were talking earlier in the game. Russell likes to play high, but sometimes he gives up the pipes, and right there he gave up the pipe to Walker, and Walker made him pay.
Paul, that's an amazing shot. Walker actually shot that around the long stick defender. Improved his angle, and with a little sidewinder, got it to the corner.
Great shooters really do that. As a shooter, you want to establish yourself from the outside and using the defensive player in front of you to your advantage. And right there, he used that. He screened the goaltender with the defensive player right in front of him.
Walker had 5 against Air Force, 5 more against Duke. He's got 4 today, and Army is back within 3 with oodles of time in regulation. 8:20 to go in our third quarter. A high-scoring affair it would appear to be before games end in Annapolis. Here comes Dwayne Osgood. Osgood with the ball, number 11 in the white. A couple of major knee injuries in the past. He actually left the prep school, left Navy's prep school, had second thoughts, then came back and has turned out to be a solid contributor during his stay in Annapolis. Tommy Wallen had a bust-out shooting day against Ohio State earlier in the year with 3 goals on 3 shots. Running against Sokol, over the top, and it's booted away as Fullerton got his foot on that. Leister bringing it back and actually ran through the crease with it. A violation that will give Navy the ball.
Wallen showing some confidence and some speed to go against the long pole right there, not give it up to one of his teammates who has a short stick.
I always like what I see from Tommy Wallen. He's extremely aggressive. He's one of those guys who's sprinting everywhere on the field. Bersner off of a pick, and that was an illegal screen set. Give the ball to Army.
You know, Joe, we spoke earlier in this game about how important it was for Army to establish themselves from the midfield and score. Right now, they have 1 goal from a midfielder, and it's their face-off man, Vazzola. For them to play competitive against Navy, who has an elite midfield core, they're going to need to get some scoring from Couch and Green. Those are the types of guys that need to step up. And right now, 1 goal from that's not going to cut it in this type of a ball game.
Army head coach Jack Emmer in his 36th overall season. Guy recently coached his 500th game. The winningest active Division I coach in all the nation. Trying to lead right by Russell. Russell fueling the fast break to his good buddy Denola. Look away inside, just off the cross of Ben Horn. Denola comes back and picks their pocket again. Then he lost it. Fumbled it right to the waiting Chris Couch. John Walker on the fly for Army. Hendler running with him. They'll maneuver it, keep it wide. It's Ryan Chase who plays sparingly. He's one of the clearing midfielders for Army. Seeing some time here in a set 6-on-6 situation.
And on that last possession, Walker didn't have as much success on Russell because Russell saw that shot the whole time. He didn't change his levels. He went low to low, and Russell gobbled it right up.
You know, Matt averages around 9 saves a game. He says this defense does all the speaking for him. They are so well prepared. At the midline, the battle there is joined. Hendler and Walker. Leister too. Did they stay on side? It goes back to Navy, and Emmer can't believe it. Motioning for his guys to get back in the hole and do it quickly. Marabito took his eyes off of it. There to defend Nick Dorr. It's a hold against Navy. Give the ball to the Black Knights with a little less than 5.5 to go in the third quarter. You gotta love Richie Meade. When he gets more and more fired up, Paul, we see him grab at that baseball cap. It comes off. It spends a lot of time at his side. Almost as much time there than it does on his head.
Emmer showing that he can match Meade with the emotion as well. On that last quick whistle, he's jumping up and down, telling his defense, get back, because there's quick whistles in lacrosse. And you have to be ready to play.
Richie Meade, the National Coach of the Year in lacrosse last year, as Navy pulled that double, right? It was Paul Johnson on the football side who was the National Coach of the Year. The midshipman, 10 wins. What was that in the first time in 99 years? CSTV and Navy football will be partners this coming fall. We'll be back here in Annapolis quite a bit. On the move. Little pitch play for Walker. 4.5 in the third quarter. Mitch Hendler with a nice trail check. And Hendler will take it himself. Slow break. Harris fires right to the gut of Fullerton. Ground ball belongs to Chris Larson. That was a tough pass for the long stick Yakulis to track down. It'll roll out of bounds and be Army ball.
And on that last shot by Harris, he's a designated defensive midfielder. He's not too used to being in those spots. 5 and 10 yards away from the cage. He caught that pass off a cut, and he had to think for a second, what should I do here? He probably should have just ripped it right away. He hesitated and thought too much about it.
Here comes Chris Larson, who was a much more visible factor the last time these two teams struggled. Larson, born in Auckland, New Zealand, of all places. Calls Princeton, New Jersey his home now. And how about those Princeton Tigers? Tough year for them, for Bill Tierney, and there's a new sheriff in town in the Ivy League as Cornell will win that conference. Cornell's play has got to be something to watch out for come tournament time. Russell well out of the comforts of the crease there to force the turnover.
Army was able to beat Cornell earlier in the year. You look at this replay here, fighting hard for ground balls. Always a staple when these two teams play. The intensity level, and every ground ball, everyone's going 100% when it's Army and it's Navy, especially when you throw a Patriot League championship on top of that.
10-7, Navy in this Patriot League final. Kevin Nee rolling right along for Cornell. They have a perfect Ivy season and got the better of Brown yesterday. These two teams, the top seeds in the Patriot League. Army needing overtime to get rid of Bucknell. Great game Friday. It was Navy with the early uppercut to Lehigh, put them back on their heels, and the midshipmen were never really in trouble in their 10-6 semifinal win. Navy trying to make it 9 straight over Army. Oh, a bitter pill for the Black Knights to consider, and for all of the corps back on post in West Point.
It's a tough one to swallow when every stadium up in West Point states beat Navy.
These two service academies, Paul, they meet on the athletic field in 22 different sports. Lacrosse prominently among them. Billy Looney. Yakulis runs with him. Times are wasted in the third quarter if you're just tuning in with us on CSTV. Navy real strong in the second quarter, jumping to the lead. Steve Looney will fetch. Larson right there in his tracks. You hear the coordination coming from field level. Different defensive assignments, different offensive sets. Ben Horn with it, California native. Justin Bachmeyer's the only guy from Cali on the Army side.
To show you how much respect Army has for the Navy midfielder, they're actually short-sticking Horn right now and putting 2 long poles up on Billy Looney and Graham Gill.
Nice passing play, and Ben Horn's the beneficiary.
And Ben Horn saying, if you're gonna put a short stick on me, you're gonna pay. And if you look, right here, Bersner playing a little cat and mouse. They don't know what side he's going to go on. And then Horn has a short stick on him. It's a lot easier to get open on that short stick from the crease against that midfielder who's not used to playing defense on a guy like Horn. Right there, goal for Ben Horn. And Bersner, he's been a great feeder and a distributor today.
Just a second, that's all it took. Bersner recognized Bachmeyer, took his eyes off the target. And Ben Horn, the future Navy pilot, flying Navy to a 4-goal lead right now.
When you put a short stick on a guy like Ben Horn, it's much more than just seeing if he could dodge and beat him. Those attackmen are smart. They take the midfielders to the crease and play the off-ball game with them. He was able to do that and really make Army pay for that matchup.
And a reminder, this is a John Bersner who's playing just 2 days removed from a concussion. Right there with the ball, 7 in white. At least 3 assists today. He had an 8-assist game this year against Colgate. That was the most for a Navy Academy player in some 27 years. Here he comes again. Or rather, that's Horn switching gears against Jakulis. Billy Looney on the split dodge. Didn't juke Ben Harrow. Harrow is very good with his footwork. Oh, what a shot by Billy Looney! A missile out of nowhere.
Pick your poison, Black Knights. If you want to put a short stick on Horn, he'll score. If you put the short stick back up onto Looney and long pole Horn, he's going to take advantage of that. Billy Looney, the athletic, sweeping midfielder with a great, high, hard shot. And on that shot, he's able to sweep right and then shoot to the left. Very difficult for a goaltender to save when they're going with the sweeping midfielder to throw it back at that other side.
They have to be so thrilled they've got that youngster for another 2 lacrosse seasons. A bust-out plebe year, very good sophomore year. William Wallace wins the draw. Ben Horn looking over the top. The bounce shot from Marabido misfires. Bersner backs it up. And Billy Looney can crow about it a little bit on the sideline.
So impressed with Navy's offensive midfield group. And for that matter, they play in between the lines better than anyone as well. They do such a great job. And when you put a guy like Billy Looney and Steve Looney and Graham Gill on the same unit, you're going to find the matchup problems.
Here comes Gill, 2 first-half goals. Gill, no alleyway to pull the trigger there. And it was Fullerton giving him a nudge. It was the Lehigh coaching staff, Paul, that said, you know, Navy thinks the game so well. They're so smart all the way around as the third quarter comes to its conclusion. Navy continues to lengthen its lead. Looking for a stranglehold on this Patriot League championship. John Walker is doing everything he can. He's got 4 goals today. Navy's got 3 of the last 4, including one from former goalie Seth Dinola. 12-7 Navy. We'll close up on John Walker when we return, right after these words from Annapolis.
Check it out, man.
What is that?
It looks like someone's belly. Probably lost it walking on the beach.
Man, just leave it. Let's go.
Once again, I find myself with my friends. Dance till the night away, it's like the party never ends. Seeing stars, I'm seeing stars. Oh my, starry-eyed surprise. Sundown to sunrise, dance all night. We're gonna dance all night to this DJ.
And now there's one more way to enjoy a Diet Coke. Diet Coke sweetened with Splenda.
I heard there's this thing called the DirecTV Movers Connection. They install your DirecTV service in your new home when you move, and it's free.
Free? I wouldn't mind moving.
This place is nice.
Movers Connection, only from DirecTV. Another example of how DirecTV is rethinking the way television should be.
I never thought I'd see the day when I would have the juice to say, hey, Butkus, come watch the Bears. I never thought that I would see all these games in sweet HD, because I'd have said it couldn't be done. NFL Sunday Ticket. This is how watching football games should be. It's NFL Sunday Ticket from DirecTV.
You know, DirecTV has 100% digital quality on every channel.
DirecTV has top-ranking customer satisfaction.
Introducing Spread the Word, only from DirecTV. Now DirecTV customers can get a free month of service for every person they refer.
DirecTV offers access to over 225 channels.
So spread the word. Free DirecTV service is out there waiting for you.
Ooh, it's hot down here. Hey, did you know that Miami's mascot Sebastian is an ibis? It's the first sign of wildlife to reappear after a hurricane. Wish you were here.
In the Patriot League, there's this conference's holy grail, 15 minutes away from awarding that to someone. Army, Navy, and Navy performing extremely well. Army still has hopes, especially with the way John Walker has performed today.
Johnny Walker has done a fabulous job dodging and putting most of the offensive production on his own shoulders. But it can't be just one guy. But he looks like that guy that can carry the squad. He's doing it from the inside, the outside, on fast breaks, shooting from all different angles, and being the force that we all thought he would be.
He has 3 career 5-goal games to his credit. He's got 4 and counting right now. Number 29 in the Black Knights coming to Annapolis and trying to upend Navy here in the Patriot League tournament. 4th quarter unfolding for you on CSTV.
When you look at Johnny Walker, he's not just your average #1 option on offense. Every defensive team knows he's the guy that gets it going, and they slide to him so early with the best player on the defense on top of that.
Nice defensive play by Dan Harris. He got out on the shooter, Chris Couch, to deflect that one, and Matt Russell never had to taste it. Big goal totals for Walker today and cumulatively. Expect that trend to continue for at least another year. Next year, John's younger brother Austin is going to Johns Hopkins to be part of Dave Petramala's squad.
Petramala's done such a great job recruiting, taking some of the best players from Long Island, Maryland, and upstate New York. And Austin Walker plays very similar to his brother. Shifty type player who can do everything on offense.
Austin and John, the son of former NFL wideout Wesley Walker, 12 years with the Jets. Seth Dinola drawing a bead now against Walker. Rolling. Oh, pretty look backside for Wagner. And he had Felber draped on top. Russell will play the clearing game for Navy.
Look for Navy to get a real good possession here. Up by 5 goals in the 4th quarter. They want everyone to get a touch, run their offense, and then go for the offensive opportunities. Don't force things that aren't there.
Told you they threw 18 at Army last year, a dozen a couple of weeks ago, and the graphic told you again, 12 already today. Against freshman netminder Adam Fullerton.
Fullerton had a nice first half, but I think there's just a little bit too much offense coming from all different angles. Navy is not a one-dimensional team. They can do it from the back with Bersner, or they can go up top with the Loonies, and Graham Gill. And don't forget about guys like Tommy Wallen.
Ball on the ground. There is Tommy Wallen with the scoop. Wallen and Wallace are out there now. Steve Looney joining them as the midfield trio. William Wallace, 21-year-old sophomore from Michigan.
It's great to see players from all the different states representing fine institutions like Navy and Army. And you're seeing that on major Division I programs rosters across the board. Guys from states like Michigan. You look at Syracuse, one of their best midfielders, Stephen Brooks, is from Chicago, Illinois. Guys like Matt Shield from Ohio. Ben Horn from California. This is great representation that the sport is growing at an unprecedented rate.
Wicked check there from Leicester, separating Bersner from the ball. This is an Army team. Whoa, as Sokol tiptoes that sideline. Oh, he stepped on it. Give it back to Navy. This is an Army team, Paul, that was down 5 goals to Stony Brook a couple of weeks ago. Coach Emmer knows that full well. Rallied back to beat them.
They've played from behind, but if you look at Navy, they're on a different level than a team like Stony Brook. Stony Brook is doing a great job, and they're a really improving program with Coach Tiffany up there from Penn State. He's doing a great job with the Stony Brook Seawolves. But Navy is a seasoned Final Four team. It's going to take more production from a variety of players to do that today.
Bubble team, Stony Brook, UMBC, and Albany are looking good in the American East Conference, as this one is scaled wide. Dwayne Osgood had the game winner for Richie Meade back in April against the Black Knights. Bersner showing Leicester everything in his arsenal today. Sneak attack. Score! John Bersner. Clear-headed, I'd say.
We didn't know what we'd get out of Bersner in the beginning of the game, Joe, but boy, is he delivered. Look at from the corner here. Bersner taking out the All-American Leicester, going hard. Everyone's playing Bersner as a feeder there. Then he uses a quick change of direction and gets to the inside of Leicester and throws it to the top side, past Fullerton. The re-dodge is what caught Leicester there. He starts to dodge, he hesitates, he actually slips, and then gains a step. Everyone's playing Bersner as a feeder there, slow to go. The defense isn't so antsy there to say, let's go.
Navy's keys to the game, Paul, you spelled it out for us, and it's worked to a T.
Look at the wave runners. Those are the Loonies and Graham Gill and crew, running up and down the field, getting unsettled situations. And don't forget about Bersner. He gets this thing going for Navy, and he's done such a fabulous job distributing the ball and getting his offense involved. Navy is so difficult to defend, as I mentioned earlier. They come at you from all different angles. And they're going to be a tough, tough team with playoff experience now, Joe. Heading into the NCAA tournament, they have confidence and experience. They went to the national finals last year, and this is a veteran group.
Slowing the pace now as Visolo deals with Steve Looney. Navy will now try to drip some time off the clock. 10:40 to go in regulation. Steve Looney, his coach calls him and refers to him very, very positively when he says he's the Energizer Bunny. He never stops. Everywhere on the field, offensively, defensively, wing guy on faceoffs. What a focal point he is. He and Matt Russell were the co-MVPs of the team last year in that marvelous 15-win campaign.
It shows how much Coach Meade and the rest of the Navy coaching staff respects that type of a game, the in-between-the-lines type game of the midshipmen.
Fullerton making the stop on Gill there as he was set up by Maravito. And there's Looney's extra effort. One perfect example of it right there. His team's up by 6. This guy's running 30 yards and diving to force a turnover. Break time for us on CSTV. Navy has things in control. 10 minutes to go in the Patriot League final.
The first collegiate cricket team was founded at Haverford College in the 1850s. Now, club teams across the country are springing up on college campuses, most recently at Boston University.
The first inkling I had was Brian giving me a call and saying that we have met and we would like to get a cricket club together.
We thought, well, we could do something with this. We could actually play games because, like, throwing a ball around is okay, but it's not really the same.
We got the club approved from BU and got the place in the winter. And once we got that done, people started showing interest.
The idea is similar to baseball, but not quite.
Instead of 9 innings, we have like just 1 inning. Each team gets 1 chance to bat.
You have 11 players of one team fielding with a wicketkeeper standing behind the stumps and a person coming to bowl.
To score a run, you have to run between those 2 sets of stumps. But there are several ways of going out. You can be caught out, just like in baseball.
You can get out when the ball hits a part of the body without hitting the bat.
The wicketkeeper catches the ball and hits the stumps, that's also out.
He's out. Stumped.
It's just about hitting the ball, protecting the wicket, and scoring runs.
There are most of the people from India, and there are a few from England, 2 guys from Australia, 3 or 4 guys from Pakistan.
It is certainly by far the biggest game in the Indian subcontinent.
The entire country just comes to a standstill when we have any big matches.
And of course, if India and Pakistan are playing, it is religion, literally and figuratively. If you think Red Sox and Yankees are big rivals, you haven't seen anything yet.
But people in the U.S. are starting to see the appeal of this native British sport.
The fact that the United States is like a melting pot and there's so many other cultures around here is helping it, because so many people around here from from Kicking Nations.
They do bring along a lot of their roots and their, and their passions and stuff. So that's going to eventually come here.
And the involvement of young American-born students will allow this game to thrive in the United States.
This is where a team like Boston University really helps, because this is a place where you get turnover, you get new blood in. And they have American students who are members of this club, and I really commend the BU Cricket Club for taking that path and having that vision.
The Ultimate Players Association and CSTV present Ultimate 101. The flick, a throw from your dominant side like a forehand in tennis. The hammer, a high overhead throw. The disc flips upside down while in the air. The huck, a long pass, often nearly the full length of the field. The layout, when a player dives to catch, block, or intercept the disc.
Stanford takes on Texas, Friday at 9 on CSTV.
Let's go live, man. We only got one more time to tune up.
They do not want to be embarrassed by you guys, and they're going to come after you.
You're dreaming. If you don't sprint, and get in great shape, you can't do it. You cannot win on a consistent basis if you don't fight all the time.
Sunday at 8 on CSTV, it's the best of Nike training camp.
When you see it all sliced up like that, you see what a turnaround Navy has fashioned since the second quarter, on their way to a 13-7 lead. Folks, next Sunday at 9 Eastern, it's the One College Sports Show, NCAA Lacrosse Selection Special. Tune in to see which teams made it, what the matchups are, and who the experts think will be victorious. The Lacrosse Selection Special, Sunday, 9 Eastern on CSTV. I know Paul Carcaterra and Sheehan Stanwyck will be involved with that. Adam Zucker, I presume, from the studios in New York. So you got to break it all down. John Bersner has had a fantastic day, and Paul, look at the numbers in the last handful against Army.
Those are huge numbers against arch rival Army. And Bersner, one of the main ingredients for this veteran Navy team that hopes to get back to the Final Four in Philadelphia this year.
Lost a heartbreaker to Syracuse a season ago. National runners-up, the Midshipmen. That one-goal game on Memorial Day in front of a packed house in Baltimore. Gill sets his sights. Fullerton fights it off the crossbar, off him, and nearly popped down across the goal line. It'll be Army ball.
Talking about Steve Looney, co-MVP of this team last year. Joe, both of us had a chance to speak to Mark Goers before the game, and he said the practice atmosphere at Navy, if you take one day off, you could lose your spot. These guys compete at the highest level. When they're doing it every day in practice, it's no surprise it happens on the game.
And those guys are just chomping at the bit, ready to get in there, hoping to get their turn as they stand on the bench and watch the starters and regulars. Good strip from the weak side. Felber hunting for it. Gill pops out of the pack. Navy in white with a lead by 6. 9 minutes to go in the Patriot League championship game. Army came out with the early punch. They bopped Navy right in the nose, but the midshipmen have responded.
Navy wore them down, and they wore them down with the midfield. And by throwing 5, 6, 7, and 8 different midfielders at them, they really were able to exploit the lack of athleticism on the Army offense and the Army defensive midfield.
Trying to win 6 out of 7 here at home this year as Graham Gill will walk it and slow the pace a little bit. Drafted there by Jeff Costa, his defender. William Wallace keeping it hot.
Joe, I think Army's a talented team, but they're going to have to find some more scorers before they go into the NCAA tournament. They can't rely just on Johnny Walker and Jim Wagner. When you look at their offensive production from the midfield, 1 goal that's from a face-off specialist. To beat an elite team like Navy, you have to find other scorers.
One thing we should mention, too, they are without a first-team All-Patriot League midfielder today. Mike Obringer not able to join them in battle for this clash with the Navy, as he was injured against Duke. That shot was hummed high and wide. So without Obringer, the defensive forces for the midshipmen had 1 fewer midfielder to worry about. Just about halfway home in quarter number 4. Shots favoring Navy.
Look for Army to double the ball and take chances right now. Down by 6 goals, they need to gamble often.
A Bersner turnover gives it back to the Black Knights. And here comes Nick Dorr, who has done a real nice job against Patrick Christensen of Bucknell the last 2 times they faced. The drought for the Black Knights is getting scary. And at the top of the crease, we hear the whistle. Give the ball back to Navy. The officials today, Kevin O'Leary, Terry McNabb, and Dave Berman. Just over 7 minutes to go. So, Paul, let's start from the top. Johns Hopkins, they rallied again. 5 goals in the 4th to beat Towson. How do you see them as we move towards the all-important May games?
Well, I think Hopkins is a very battle-tested team. They play the toughest schedule in the nation, so they've seen everyone. They've played Virginia, they've played Maryland, they've played Syracuse, they've played everything. They've played Duke, and they've won a lot of these games by 1 goal. So they're battle-tested. But I think the parity in lacrosse is better than it ever has. It wouldn't shock me if a 10th-seeded team beat a 2nd-seeded team, or an 8th-seeded team beat a number 1. Because lacrosse right now, as it's growing, you're seeing rosters from places all over the nation. And the growth of the game is great. And what you see, too, is not 1 or 2 schools is getting those top players.
Graham Gill maneuvering against Jay Larson. This is Navy and Army. Navy in the white. You mentioned Maryland and Virginia. Well, Duke and Maryland are just about 30 minutes away from us here up the road in Baltimore in the ACC final. It's been a very interesting late season for Virginia, although I think that Duke is very, very much for real, and they are desperately hoping for another shot at Johns Hopkins.
Duke lost to Hopkins about a month ago by a goal, and they beat Virginia 17-2 a couple weeks ago. So they have some offensive weapons on that squad.
Walker, speaking of weapons, puts it to the inside, whistles, flags, Navy ball, and Walker protests. 13-7 Navy, and when you listen up, the hitting is still ferocious.
The first step of Walker. Wow. How he got up from that one, I'll never know.
And John Walker waiting for the officials to sort things out. It'll be Army going extra man here.
Tells you a lot about Walker's toughness. Down by 6 goals with 5 minutes left. Throwing his body and doing scoreboard.
Denola penalized for a half minute, and there's the boot coming from the outside. Army continues to strike man up. No quit yet.
Johnny Walker. This guy is for real. He has put together quite a game in a losing effort possibly, but he's done it from every possible way, in every angle. Working the ball on the man up. That's the 2nd time he's used the screen of Jim Wagner and thrown one by Russell, the first-team All-American. Similar shot to that other extra man goal. That's a great shot by Walker. Using the defense and his man as a double screen. Almost impossible for Russell to stop.
They won't give up on the Army side. Walker, who had a 6-point game against Navy a couple weeks ago on 2 goals and 4 assists, has his 4th career 5-goal game today, moving his totals upwards of 40 on the season.
And he's done it with a huge X on his back.
That he has. Steve Looney to the interior, and that shot just missed.
Joe, getting back to the NCAA tournament that's right around the corner. We mentioned Johns Hopkins and how they're battle-tested. There's also some other great teams out there. Don't be surprised to see teams like UMass, who just upset Georgetown and Syracuse in 1 week, maybe to make some noise. And you can't forget about the other squads like Cornell, who beat Princeton a couple weeks ago, 17-4. There's some great teams out there, and the rosters, like I said before, have talent. And the talent isn't just going to the top 1 or 2 schools in the nation now. It's spread out.
Billy Looney ragging some time here. Graham Gill fires and scores. Graham Gill rounding out a 4-goal performance in his own right.
Graham Gill. When I saw Graham Gill play a year ago, I thought he was a good left-handed midfielder. What I've seen from him this year is that he's able to use both sides of the field, and he has a great vision to feed the ball as well. Graham Gill has put himself in a situation this year to be an elite midfielder in the national scene. He's really doing a great job. We saw him against Maryland score the tying and winning goal. This day, 4-goal performance. He's doing outstanding.
Graham Gill, one of the headliners for sure for Navy today. 14 goals overall. Army controls the faceoff. Graham Gill, he'll be flying jets in the future. His dad was here in Annapolis recently, a former Vietnam War helicopter pilot. He flew for the Army. And Mr. Gill was giving some instructions in an aviation class here on the yard. Army trying to chip away. Desperate times for them now, with just over 4 minutes to go in the fourth, and trailing by a half dozen.
Graham Gill was an elite soccer player in high school and is fortunate enough to be the nephew of Don Starzer, the Virginia coach. So I'm sure he got some great tips growing up at family gatherings with Coach Starzer.
There's Russell denying Burton at the post. And another extra man situation to come here. 30-second foul. Dan Harris. Unnecessary roughness. It won't be 30. It'll be a minute against 5 in the white.
You think White is going to watch where 29 is?
I hope so, for their sake. Day it has been for John Walker. Wagner will keep it moving. They find Walker again. Inside, just missing there was Chris Larson, as he was all by his lonesome.
And Larson has to can this. With the attention of an elite player like John Walker, the defense slides so quick and left Larson all alone in the inside.
The jump shot from Larson goes wide, and Russell hustling towards the end line to no avail. Extra man situation for Army. If you're just tuning in, Joe Beninati, Paul Carcaterra, all the men and women of the CSTV crew. Down the stretch we go in the fourth. This is the Patriot League championship game. Army had a 3-1 lead, but Navy has responded big time. Despite the heroic efforts of John Walker, it does appear like Navy is on its way to back-to-back Patriot League titles.
And on that last set, there was no backup, so Army couldn't regain possession. You take a chance when you run a man-up play with all 6 shooters in front of the cage, not having the backup, especially with an athletic goaltender like Russell, who sprints to the end line probably as good as anyone.
Start to hear the brigade now in full throat, with the Navy hoping to win for the 9th consecutive time against their future brothers in arms. Looney was held. Steve Looney stopped there by Fullerton, and now Navy goes man up. It's amazing to me that Steve Looney was second team All-Patriot League. No disrespect to brother Billy, but Steve's the junior and should get the senior status in that sense. It should be flip-flopped.
Well, I think what happens, you see a guy like Steve Looney not get the recognition he deserves because he doesn't put up the huge numbers. And a lot of times when it comes to Patriot League first team and second team, if something's close, they'll give it to the guy with the better numbers. But how important is a guy like Steve Looney to the Navy's success? If you ask the coaches, they would say he's probably their most valuable.
And there he is. From your words, right to his stick. The extra man goal. And guys in the covers are all fired up.
Steve Looney doing a little one-time action. This midfield has done a tremendous job today. Wide open on the crease, you can't leave him open. He finds those seams. Mentioned in the pregame, does a great job at the little things, finding the seams, getting the ground balls, making the big hits. That is the type of player that you want playing midfield. He embodies the word midfield.
Midshipmen flexing all their offensive muscle. Steve Looney with 22 now.
Joe, let me tell you, in Division I lacrosse, 22 goals is not a shabby number for a midfield. That is a standout season.
John Walker will spin. Clipper Lennon right there with him. Clipper Lennon, a 4.0 student in honors mathematics here in Annapolis. What a pass that was! And a finish off the outside of the goal by Wagner. No goal there, but Walker to Wagner was just that close.
John Walker, look at this pass, the old backhand. And that's actually a great pass in lacrosse. When you're losing your angle, and you see the stick was on his front side, flips it to the back. Look at that, the one-time pass. Wagner wishes he had that one again. Wagner's been a little bit quiet. For Army really to put up big numbers, it can't just be Walker. It has to be Walker, Wagner, and some midfielders.
Well, that was the duo.